You're lying in bed. The house is quiet. Everyone else is asleep. And suddenly there it is again. That high-pitched ringing in your ear. Sharp, piercing, like a frequency only you can hear. You've been to doctors. They told you it was tinnitus. They told you it was stress. They told you to drink more water, sleep better, reduce caffeine, and still it keeps coming back. Sometimes in the left ear, sometimes in the right. Sometimes it wakes you up at 3 in the morning like someone just whispered your name from another room. Let me tell you something right now, and I want you to hear me carefully. What you're experiencing is not a medical condition. It is not a malfunction. It is not your nerves playing tricks on you. That ringing, that sound no one else in your house can hear, is a message. And it's been trying to reach you for longer than you realize. My name is George, and for years I've walked with people who came to me in tears, thinking something was deeply wrong with their bodies. Thinking maybe they were going crazy. Thinking maybe God had abandoned them because no prayer seemed to make that sound stop. And what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes is going to change the way you understand everything that's been happening to you. Because the Bible tells us something that very few pastors ever preach from the pulpit. Something that gets buried under theological debates and Sunday morning routines. And that is this: God has always communicated with his chosen ones through sounds, frequencies, and signals that no one else around them could perceive. Think about Samuel, a young boy, sleeping in the temple. And in the middle of the night, he hears a voice calling his name. He runs to Eli, thinking it was him. Eli says, "No, go back to bed." It happens again and again, 3 times, until Eli finally understands what's going on and tells the boy, "The next time you hear that voice, answer this way. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Now think about that for a second. Samuel didn't hear thunder. He didn't hear a chorus of angels. He heard a specific sound, a call that no one else in that entire temple could perceive. Not even Eli, the high priest, heard it. Because that sound was not meant for Eli. It was meant for Samuel alone. And here's where it gets real. When God chooses someone for a specific assignment, he begins to tune that person to a frequency that the rest of the world cannot access. He starts opening spiritual ears before he ever opens spiritual eyes. And the first sign that your ears are being opened is almost always a ringing, a buzzing, a high-pitched tone that comes out of nowhere and leaves you wondering if something's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is right with you. You're being called. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that this ringing tends to happen at specific moments? Maybe when you're about to make an important decision. Maybe when you're praying. Maybe when you walk into a certain environment, a certain room, a certain gathering, and suddenly your ear starts singing this strange song that only you can hear. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. Your spirit is receiving information that your mind cannot yet translate, and the ringing is the bridge between the two worlds. I want to take you back to something the prophet Elijah experienced. He was hiding in a cave, exhausted, depressed, ready to quit, and God told him to step outside. A great wind came. Elijah thought maybe God is in the wind, but God was not in the wind. Then an earthquake shook the ground. Surely God is in the earthquake, but God was not in the earthquake. Then a fire passed by. Elijah waited, but God was not in the fire. And then after all the noise, after all the spectacle, after all the drama, there came what the scripture calls a still, small voice. A whisper, a sound so quiet, so subtle, that you could miss it if you weren't paying attention. That's how God speaks to his chosen ones. Not through the loud things, not through the obvious things, through the small, specific, personal signals that the world dismisses as nothing. That ringing in your ear is your still, small voice. It's God saying, "I'm here. I haven't forgotten you. I'm tuning you. I'm preparing you." Stop trying to explain this with medicine and start asking me what I'm trying to tell you. And now I want to get really honest with you, because I know there are people watching this right now who have been carrying something heavy for years. You've felt different your whole life. You've never quite fit in. You walk into a room and you feel things other people don't feel. You pick up on tensions no one else notices. You've had dreams that came to pass. You've thought of someone and had them call you 10 minutes later. You've sensed death before it happened. You've known things you had no business knowing. And somewhere along the way, someone told you that you were strange, that you were too sensitive, that you were overthinking, maybe even that you were dangerous. And you started to hide it. You started to act normal. You started to pretend that you didn't hear the whispers or feel the weight or see the signs. But that ringing keeps coming back, doesn't it? Because God doesn't give up on His chosen ones. Even when we silence ourselves, He keeps calling. Even when we bury our gifts under layers of shame and fear, He keeps knocking on the door of our spirit, saying, wake up, it's time. Let me tell you about the meaning behind which ear the ringing comes from, because this matters. In Scripture, the right side has always represented authority, strength, and divine assignment. When the priests were anointed, blood was placed on the right ear first. When Jesus sat down in glory, He sat at the right hand of the Father. The right side is the side of mission, the side of release, the side where heaven deposits what earth is about to see manifested. So when that ringing happens in your right ear, and especially when it happens suddenly, sharply, with an intensity that makes you stop whatever you're doing, pay attention. That is often a signal that you are being positioned, that a door is opening. That something you've been praying about, something you've been waiting for, is about to move from the invisible into the visible. Your spirit is being notified before your circumstances change. Most people miss the notification because they're too busy trying to find a pill to make it stop. And then there's the left ear. The left side in Scripture carries a different message. It often speaks of warning, of discernment, of the need to pause and listen more carefully to what's happening around you. When you feel a ringing on your left side, especially if it comes during a conversation, during a meeting, during a moment when you're about to agree to something that is your spirit tapping you on the shoulder, saying, don't move yet, something here is not what it seems. Pray before you proceed. I've lost count of how many people have told me stories of how they ignored that left ear ringing and walked straight into a betrayal, a bad partnership, a relationship that devastated them. And every single one of them said the same thing. Afterward, I felt something. I heard something. I knew something. But I didn't listen. Your ears are not lying to you. Your ears are protecting you. Your ears are guiding you. Your ears are being used by heaven as an early warning system, because you have a calling on your life that requires you to walk with precision. You don't get to stumble through life like everyone else. You were chosen for more, and more requires more awareness. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, George, but what if it really is a medical thing? What if I'm just spiritualizing something natural? And I want to honor that question because it's an honest one. Of course you should take care of your body. Of course you should see a doctor if something concerns you. I'm not telling you to ignore your health. But here's the truth that a doctor's office cannot give you. Millions of people hear these same ringings and get the same diagnoses, and the medicine doesn't help. The diet doesn't help. The sleep doesn't help. Because the problem was never in the body. The problem is that the body is responding to something the body cannot process. The body is picking up on a spiritual signal, and it has no category to file it under, so it screams. Your body is not malfunctioning. Your body is announcing, and everyone else around you, the ones who never hear these sounds, the ones who sleep peacefully through the night without a single ringing, without a single whisper, without a single tremor of discernment, they're not more blessed than you. They're just not carrying what you're carrying. They haven't been assigned what you've been assigned. The frequency of their lives doesn't require the sensitivity that yours does. Think about a radio. If you want to pick up a station that broadcasts at a specific frequency, you have to be tuned to that frequency. A radio tuned to 88.5 cannot pick up a station broadcasting at 101.3. It's not that the signal isn't real. It's that the receiver isn't positioned to receive it. You, beloved, are a receiver that's been tuned to a frequency most people around you can't access. And what you hear, what you feel, what you perceive, is absolutely real. It's just not their reality. It's yours. And that leads me to something I need to share with you right now, because I sense there's a specific person watching this whose life is about to shift dramatically. There are messages that pass through your eyes, and there are messages that pass through your spirit. If something in you recognized itself while watching, don't dismiss it. That is the spirit confirming what was already written. The secret protocol carries 7 keys that unveil what heaven deposited in you before you ever arrived, things no one around you has ever been able to name. It comes with the full audiobook for your moments of prayer, silence, and encounter with God. And you also receive the awakening map, the guide that illuminates the 5 seasons of spiritual awakening, revealing with precision exactly where you are and what comes next. The link is pinned in the first comment, but only for a limited time. Don't let this moment pass without a response. Now let me keep walking with you, because there's more, much more. I want to talk about the seasons of your life when this ringing becomes more frequent. Have you ever noticed that? You can go months, sometimes years, without hearing it much. And then suddenly it comes back relentless, persistent, almost daily. And during those seasons, something else usually shows up in your life. A sense of restlessness, a dissatisfaction with things that used to satisfy you, a pull towards something you can't yet name, a hunger to read scripture differently, a desire to be alone more often, a feeling that the life you've been living is no longer big enough for who you're becoming. That's not a coincidence. That's a convergence. When God is about to do something major in your life, He doesn't just drop it on you overnight. He prepares you. He tunes you. He begins to adjust the frequency of your entire being, so that when the assignment arrives, you have the capacity to carry it. The ringing in your ear during those seasons is like the dial of a radio being slowly turned, fine-tuning the receiver until the signal becomes clear. And here's what I've seen over and over again. People who have these experiences often have moments where they feel, almost physically, that they are being held back by something, by a place, by a relationship, by a job, by a city. Like their spirit is too big for the container they're in. And the ringing intensifies during those moments, because your spirit is trying to tell you, we're not meant to stay here. We were built for more. Move. Joseph understood this. He was a boy who dreamed. He had visions that nobody around him believed. His own brothers hated him for what he saw. They threw him in a pit. They sold him into slavery. And from the outside, it looked like his gift had ruined his life. But on the inside, Joseph knew something the others didn't. He knew that the dreams were real. He knew that what he had been shown was going to come to pass. And he carried that knowing through prison, through false accusations, through years of being forgotten, until the day Pharaoh himself called for him. What you hear in your ear right now, what you sense in your spirit, what you carry on the inside that nobody else can see, it's real. It's not your imagination. It's not your pride. It's not a spiritual ego trip. It is the voice of God reminding you that you were placed on this earth for a purpose that is bigger than the life you're currently living. And that's why the enemy fights so hard to convince you it's just a disease, just a nervous system thing, just something you ate, just something to medicate and move on from. Because if he can get you to dismiss the ringing, he can get you to dismiss the calling. If he can get you to silence the signal, he can get you to ignore the assignment. If he can get you to treat the symptom, he can get you to miss the message. Don't let him do that to you. Not today. Not after coming this far. I want to tell you about a moment that I believe is coming for many of you. A moment where the ringing will intensify in a way you've never experienced before. It will feel almost overwhelming. And in that exact moment, something will shift. You will feel a sudden clarity about something you've been confused about for years. You will know what to do. You will know where to go. You will know who to let go of. You will know what to say yes to. The ringing was not torment, it was preparation. It was the tuning right before the broadcast. And when the broadcast comes, your whole life will start moving in a direction you had only dared to dream about. Some of you are close to that moment, closer than you realize. And I want to prepare you for something. When that shift happens, the people around you are going to notice. They're going to say you're changing. Some will celebrate with you. Others will pull away. A few will turn on you. Don't take it personally. Not everyone was meant to walk the whole road with you. Some were companions for a chapter. Others are companions for the journey. And God uses the ringing, the awakening, the sensitivity to sort out who belongs where. You won't have to cut people off. They'll remove themselves as your frequency rises beyond theirs. Think of it this way. A tuning fork that resonates at a specific pitch will only make another tuning fork of the same pitch vibrate. That's physics. That's also spirit. As you become who you truly are, as the signal in you becomes stronger, only those who carry a similar calling will be able to stay close. The rest will fall away naturally, not because you rejected them, because they could no longer match the vibration of who you became. I know this is a lot. I know some of you are watching this through tears right now, because somewhere deep inside, you've always suspected that there was something more to the ringing. You've always felt that God was trying to tell you something, and you kept pushing it down because you didn't want to seem crazy. You didn't want to be the weird one in the family. You didn't want to be judged by the people at church who would tell you to just pray it away. But here's what I want you to hear tonight. You are not crazy. You are not weird. You are not broken. You are chosen. And being chosen is not easy. It comes with loneliness. It comes with misunderstanding. It comes with seasons of waiting that feel like they'll never end. But it also comes with moments of revelation so beautiful, so precise, so undeniably supernatural that no money, no comfort, no worldly success could ever replace them. God did not give you this sensitivity so that you would suffer. He gave it to you so that you would be able to hear Him when He calls. And He is calling, right now, in this very moment, through that sound that only you can hear. When you go to bed tonight, and the house gets quiet, and that ringing starts up again, don't resist it. Don't Google it. Don't reach for earplugs. Stop. Breathe. Put your hand on your heart, and say these words out loud. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Watch what happens over the next few days. Watch the dreams you start having. Watch the people who come into your life. Watch the doors that start to open. Watch the ones that start to close. God is moving. He has been moving. He's just waiting for you to tune in. You were not born to live a small life. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to silence the signal just to make other people comfortable. You were born to hear what they cannot hear, to see what they cannot see, to know what they cannot know, and to use all of it to serve the purpose Heaven wrote over your life before the foundations of the world were ever laid. The ringing is not the problem. The ringing is the invitation. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to really think about your answer before you type it. Which ear has been ringing most for you lately? The right, the left, or both? And what was happening in your life the last time it happened intensely? Share that in the comments below. Don't hold back, because I truly believe that as you write it out, God is going to give you a clarity about that specific moment that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. And there may be someone else reading your comment tonight who needed to hear exactly what you're about to say. Your testimony is someone else's breakthrough. I'll be reading every single one. And remember what the world calls a condition, Heaven calls a calling. You were never sick. You were always selected. And the ringing you've been hearing all these years was never a curse. It was always and will always be the sound of God whispering your name.